The home of the common Joe and the common Sally in the know, even more so than all those media talking heads. Reading an article today on 247 Sports, and it seems like already there's some Oklahoma fans out there, a contingent of fans and boosters and alumni that are already starting to pressure Brent Venables and Oklahoma to go ahead and start Jackson Arnold over Dillon Gabriel. Already the pressure is mounting for Jackson Arnold, the true freshman, to start at Oklahoma. Is that a wise thing, or is that a bad thing? Let's talk about it. We're off and running once again. Here they come, riding on in. It's the Outlaw Posse. It's now in effect. That's right. This is the Outlaw of College Football. And I can also be found on Twitter at OCF Productions. Now, getting right to it here. Also, like doing this the other day, I showed you some Celsius. This C4, that's Skittles right there, boy. That'd be probably the drink of choice out there in LA, you think? I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't buy this one again. But C4 is a great energy drink, so get a chance, get you one of those, and yeah, they'll get you jacked up. Now, getting right to it here. It seems like from this article I'm reading in 247 Sports that there's already some pressure on Oklahoma to start Jackson Arnold. Got a few notes here, old school style. And it says in this article from 247 Sports that a 6-7 record may not have inspired OU fans as far as Dillon Gabriel, but OU's shakiness cannot be totally blamed on Dillon, considering he went 62.7% passing, 3,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions, which is not bad numbers. I mean, it's not going to win you a Heisman Trophy, but numerous teams have had Heisman Trophy winners and not been able to win the prize that matters the most, and that's the national championship. I mean, just take case in point, my team, Alabama, we had Jacob Coker win a national championship, and he didn't end up being a great Heisman Trophy winner or an NFL player. He was just a good player and a serviceable player and a decent college football player. And sometimes that's all you need to win a national championship, and to get the parts around you that matter and get that cohesion as far as teamwork and people that try to be on the same page and sacrifice for the team. So to blame Dillon Gabriel for some of Oklahoma's non-success last year, to me, it's just not really thinking the whole thing through. You see, because the defense, to me, was the problem last year. Now, Brent Venables is a defensive guru. We all know this. So his defenses are really complicated to learn. It ain't that suddenly Brent Venables has lost his touch. It's that when you come in as a first-year coach and you throw that kind of defense on a defense that's not used to that kind of stuff, they're used to yoga classes and eating soft pretzels on a Sunday morning. But Brent Venables' defense is a lot more complicated, a lot harder to learn. But when they do get it down pat, it's going to be epic, in my opinion. And this is the second year of Brent Venables' tenure. And the second year is always miles and miles better, especially defensively with a complicated defense like Brent Venables' defense. So to sort of blame Dillon Gabriel for any of this, to me, is a little short-sighted. Plus, he was injured a few games as well. So you got to take that into account, as well as all the other outside noise that took place before Brent Venables got here. We won't get into that, as you know where that's going to lead. But it says here, Oklahoma fans are spoiled by the fact that they had Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts, and to some degree, they didn't mention this, but to some degree, in my opinion, even Caleb Williams. So you get spoiled with all these great quarterbacks. But like I said, I've seen numerous times where teams have this great star player and a bunch of star players on their team, like Alabama last year, once again, had Will Anderson, Bryce Young, all those great players, and didn't win. They didn't just not win a national championship. They didn't win the SEC title, and they didn't even win the divisional title. So star players are not always the complete answer in all this. So let's cut Dillon Gabriel a break. Also, says fans are already clamoring for Jackson Arnold. Like I said earlier, even though Gabriel had a pretty good spring game, considering spring games where you're not going to be in the game as long, you're not going to get the same kind of playing time. He went 11 of 17 for 140 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception, while Jackson Arnold went 6 of 14 for 64 yards and a touchdown. I'm not a math major here, but as you can tell there, Jackson Arnold still got a lot to learn. It reminds me a lot, once again, to go back to my team, Alabama, of the Mac Jones and Bryce Young situation. Everybody thought that Mac Jones was going to get beat out by Bryce Young, but Mac Jones had already been in the system for a while. He knew the system. Bryce Young was still green. Bryce Young sat on the bench that whole year and learned. And when Bryce Young got his opportunity, he done pretty damn good considering. I mean, by most standards, not the spoiled Alabama standards and blue blood spoiled standards, in any other college, what Bryce Young and Alabama did last year would be considered an immaculate success. And it is really a success. It's just that a lot of blue bloods are spoiled. But it reminds me of that. You come in, Jackson Arnold, great 5-star quarterback. Everybody's got this high expectation for him. He's going to come in and save Oklahoma football. But we need to let the boy come in and learn the system. Let him learn it. Don't just throw him in there and take the risk of destroying his confidence. Let him learn behind Dillon Gabriel, who already has a year in the system under Jeff Lebby. He knows Jeff Lebby's system in and out. They were at Central Florida together, another year together, and a defense that's much improved, in my opinion, bodes well for Oklahoma. And the fact that he'll be able to sit on the bench and learn these things without being pressured as a freshman and maybe losing his confidence, I think it's a great thing. I think that we need to leave, and especially all that chanting that took place a few years back about, with Spencer Rattler and Caleb Williams, that don't need to happen again. I understand that y'all sometimes you get a little impatient, and if they start off bad, then maybe we will consider Jackson Arnold coming in and taking over, right? But what's going to be bad about Oklahoma that's going to have their record not where you guys want it? That's the question. Let's say Oklahoma starts off 3-2 or 4-2 or something like that. Well, that's not automatically the quarterback that's the issue. Might be the defense again. The defense might be giving up a lot of points, and Dillon Gabriel may be doing his job, and the defense is not doing their job. The running game may not be supporting Dillon Gabriel properly. The wide receivers, there's there was an article on CBS Sports about the wide receivers are not quite up to par where they need to be right now for Oklahoma. So it may not be all on Dillon Gabriel, regardless. So you got to take those into account, because if you just have a knee-jerk reaction, you automatically just take the quarterback out and put that guy in there. Like I said, you risk hurting his confidence, and you risk maybe even having a worse season than you would have if you just stayed status quo with Dillon Gabriel and give Jackson Arnold the proper amount of time to get his feet wet and to learn this system. It says here, I already asked this question, but I would like to ask you guys and gals to tell me, what would it take for you to start saying, hey, let's yank Dillon Gabriel and let's put Jackson Arnold in? What would it take? A 4-2 start, 3-2 start, 3-3, 5-2? What would it take? Where would your patience level be? I mean, how many losses could Dillon Gabriel accumulate, let's say, in the first 7 or 8 games, and you be okay with him still being the starter? And what would be the circumstances that you would need in order to yank Dillon Gabriel from the game? Because I'd really like to know. It also says at the end of this article that Brent Venables is starting to sort of feel some of the pressure. And that might just be them just talking out their ass. They may not know anything. But that's them gauging what they're feeling and their gut feeling, in my opinion. And 247 Sports is a pretty reliable source. So if he is feeling the pressure a little bit, man, it's understandable in some ways because they went 6-7 last year. It's their first losing season in 2 decades. But it wasn't a losing season by much. But Brent Venables, in my opinion, I don't think any heat should be on Brent Venables because of the extenuating circumstances that he took over from with Lincoln Riley, as I've said ad nauseum. I think that if Brent Venables goes 8-4, 9-3 next year, that maybe you guys shouldn't grill him as much. Now, if he slips up and goes 6-7 again or 7-6, then sure, third year he's probably going to be feeling the heat a little bit. I don't know. You guys and gals tell me what you would think. Make him feel the heat, as well as the whole Dillon Gabriel thing. But to reiterate what I just said before I get out of here, if Dillon Gabriel does not play quite as good as you guys and gals want him to, just do me one favor. Do not start chanting Jackson Arnold's name. Just don't do it. It's just not a good look, man. It's just not. I know a lot of people will be pissed off at me saying that, but it's not a good look. And that's all I got to say about that. If you don't mind, there's a little heart down here. If you don't mind, hit that. Throw me a few dollars in the coffers. Also, pretty soon I'm getting this laptop set up, and I'm going to have a little bit different look in the setup and whatnot, and probably going to do some live streams and have some, maybe even have some call-ins eventually. Have you guys and gals on the show with me so we can truly be the common Joe and common Sally, you know. So looking forward to that. And as always, KMCA, all the other teams' classes now officially dismissed.